Ladies and gents, welcome to UX, and this is Trump has disaster interview after Putin Alaska debacle. This is by channel Midas Touch. 5 million subscribers. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, okay, look. So Putin and Trump meeting happened at Alaska, and it went how most people thought it's gonna be. Nothing happened. See, there are two elements I can think about this. First of all, the Trump said, "I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna solve everything. I'm gonna cure cancer." Obviously, he knows that's not gonna happen. So, to me, one side is like Trump knew nothing's gonna happen, but he had to say all these things to end things up. Sometimes, to me, it feels like he needs to stop, playing as a politician and sometimes be a politician. He can't really detach himself from both sides. Sometimes when you're on the tour, you're trying to get reelected, you say shit, that's different. And sometimes you're actually trying to do something and be a politician, that's different. Trump can't really detach himself from doing that. So Trump's like, "Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do everything, I'm going to put tariffs on India, and that's going to put pressure on Russia." It's like, no, it's not. Russia's not going to care. India has $4 trillion economy. $30 billion trade is like a big thing, but it's like compared to $4 trillion, yeah, India will manage, right? It will hurt India somewhat with 0.4% economy or something. But Russia is not going to care about that. India is not going to stop buying things from Russia because, yeah, it's like the biggest partner, right, when it comes to oil and military. And clearly seeing shit is happening that how Trump just suddenly, fuck it, screw you, India, you have tariff. So now India can't really not rely on USA now when it comes to military tech, because this just showed it. USA will literally push you at the edge when time comes. So now, if anything, India is going to rely on Russia even more. So yeah, none of the shit was going to happen, and it didn't. But it's so bad that there are headlines like how Putin was the one who started talking first, even though it was Alaska, American land, which is kind of like an insult. Yeah, this didn't went well. Even Trump's pro-Trump people, his own people, Trump didn't lose, but Putin won. It's like, yeah, that's not how it works. If Putin won, Trump lost. This is going to be interesting. Let's watch this one.
Donald Trump just had a disastrous interview with Sean Hannity on state regime media known as Fox. Donald Trump said that his meeting today with Vladimir Putin, which by all accounts was one of the worst meetings in American foreign policy history, Donald Trump says he gives himself a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. He says it was amazing. Here, play this clip.
If you had to grade it on a scale of 1 to 10?
So I think the meeting was a 10 in the sense that we got along great, and it's good when, two big powers get along, especially when they're nuclear powers. We're number one, they're number two in the world.
Then Donald Trump says that his advice to Ukraine is make...
Yeah, okay. Problem with that is you talk too big before the meeting. Just getting along isn't anything. You didn't get shit. If anything, Putin was the dominant one. He talked first. He started the shit. It's your land, it's your country, and he started it. It's like there was a clear message who the dominant one is, which is you're the president of America. What the fuck is wrong with you? This was even if you're pro-Trump, this is just fucked up.
Make a deal. Russia is very big and powerful, and you are not Ukraine. So Donald Trump leaves the meeting with Putin saying, you better do a deal, Ukraine, because you're weak compared to Russia. Just Putin talking points. Here, play this clip.
What would your advice, based on today, when you talk to Vladimir Zelensky, what's your advice to...
make a deal.
Vladimir.
Make the deal.
Gotta make a deal, yeah.
What deal?
Russia's a very big power.
This is not a fucking business, though. One country is invading another country, and you're saying deal it's okay, so give up territory. All right, but they don't want to do that, though. Even EU is not with that. Your other NATO member is also not with that. So it's what was the point of this meeting? Just show you're not going to do shit? This just hurt Trump more than anything. Why do this meeting? To me, it feels like he's jumped in. He didn't prepare. He didn't see what's happening. He just jumped in.
And they're not. They're great soldiers, and they have great, but they also had the best equipment. They had our equipment.
Then Donald Trump starts talking to Sean Hannity about how Putin told Donald Trump that the American elections were rigged and that Donald Trump really won the 2020 election. Again, how deranged, delusional, and dangerous is this, that Donald Trump is regurgitating these ridiculous lies that Putin is saying to him. And this is what they were talking about at their meeting, these utter lies. Here, play this clip.
Look, you can't run a country that way. Vladimir Putin said something, one of the most interesting things. He said, your election was rigged because you have mail-in voting. He said mail-in voting, every election. He said no country has mail-in voting. It's impossible to have mail-in voting and have honest elections. And he said that to me. It was very interesting because we talked about 2020. He said, you won that election by so much. And that's how he got it. He said, and if you would have won, we wouldn't have had a war. You'd have all these millions of people alive now instead of dead. And he said, and you lost it because of mail-in voting. It was a rigged election, but mail-in voting, Sean.
Then Donald Trump is asked, well, you mentioned before.
Putin, who never came to USA apart from 1 or 2 visits, Putin knows more about the people who are inside USA. This is one of those shit. You have disagreement with your own house. You have problem with your own people. But you solve inside. You don't go from outside person and just like, oh, he's right and our people is wrong. He literally says our agencies are wrong and Putin is right. This is borderline traitor element, right? How does that even work? He's the president. How does that even work? If a president is saying that, is he setting a precedent now? I know people like far right wing saying like, yeah, but Trump is right. Everything is a swamp. Everyone is like compromised. So you're the type of people who say like, I'd rather be Russian than be anything else. You're like one of those, extreme people who thinks everything's a conspiracy, who will not believe anything, who will say like Earth is flat, the end. Like I'm not gonna hear anything. Is this what has like infiltrated extreme right-wing area? But they just have made up their mind without any evidence, without anything. And like our people are just completely wrong and I'd rather believe Russians or anyone, even China, than our own people. Is that where we are at right now? Like that's just insane to me.
Or that there would be severe consequences on Russia if there was no ceasefire from the meeting that you had. That's what you've been saying all week. So what are these severe consequences? Hannity asks, and Hannity gives some examples of what they could be. Donald Trump says, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we can think about it, but why would we need severe consequences? Because the meeting went so well with Putin, so we don't need to have severe consequences. There doesn't need to be sanctions against Putin. How utterly pathetic is this? Here, play this clip.
No, he threatened more tariffs on India, even more. You know what? Do it. India is the largest growing economy with the largest number of young people who can work. Who's going to need who in the future, 10 years, 15, 20 years from now? And whatever you shape right now, India is going to remember that going forward. India-China relationship are getting better because of this. If anything, you're just hurting this relation. Like, it's not going to help you. And like 30 billion out of $4 trillion economy. That's not that much.
I didn't like looking. I was very sad to watch and see.
When you talked before coming here about the consequences for Vladimir Putin being severe, I found that interesting. Severe would be defined by me. India doesn't buy your oil. The European Union won't buy it. And why in the back of my head was I thinking, wait a minute, Donald Trump just delayed a possible increase in tariffs on China. Why do I think that probably President Trump was thinking ahead that maybe if you had to, that would have been part of the consequences?
Well, because of what happened today, I think I don't have to think about that. Now, I may have to think about it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something, but we don't have to think about that right now. I think the meeting went very well.
All right. Do you ever think Hillary?
Then Donald Trump says that if there were a...
Yeah, you didn't put tariffs on China because you need China. Doesn't matter how many of your people are like, yeah, we are number one. We don't need China. Yeah, you do. China's $20 trillion economy wouldn't exist if you didn't need China. You don't need India because we don't do much business, so it doesn't matter. But that goes both ways. India doesn't care that much either. China, you rely on China. China knows that.
Another meeting to take place between Russia and Ukraine and Europe, that Trump said, I may show up. I don't necessarily need to even be there at this point. What was the point of today other than to give Vladimir Putin the propaganda victory? Here's what Trump says. Let's play it.
And it was very extensive, and we agreed on a lot of points. I mean, a lot of points were agreed on, but there's not that much. There's, one or two pretty significant items, but I think they can be reached. Now it's really up to President Zelensky to get it done. And I would also say the European nations, they have to get involved a little bit, but it's up to President Zelensky. I think we are, and if they'd like, I'll be at that next meeting. They're going to set up a meeting now between President Zelensky and President Putin. And myself, I guess, I didn't ask you about it. Not that I want to be there, but I want to make sure it gets done. And we have a pretty good chance of getting it done.
Then Donald Trump continues this lie that he brought in $17 trillion from the Middle East, from Qatar. And
yeah, I guess meeting didn't went well, so he's not going to be there. Yeah, he was going hard for it. Like, yeah, I'm going to I'll solve Iran, I'll solve India, Pakistan, which he didn't. Like, what the fuck is even that? But yeah, I'm going to solve Russia and Ukraine. Yeah, Putin says, no, I'm not going to do that. So yeah, Trump is not going to go to the next meeting. Not again. Yeah, he just won that Nobel Peace Prize really badly now. Yeah, Pakistan already nominated him. Like, what else? I'm pretty sure Israel did that as well. Yeah. So yeah, we just won that shit. Like, oh, I'm going to solve Ukraine, Russia. It's not that easy, right? You can't just convince Putin like that. And Ukraine's going to give up most of its land. Obviously not. So this shit is not going to go anywhere. So that's, to me, it's just insane. He thinks he can just solve it. Really?
Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, when he's basically brought in no money from them. I mean, the entire GDP of Qatar is 150 billion. The entire GDP of the UAE is like 440 billion. This is all, every word of this is a lie. Play this clip.
And they say it. I was with also the King of Saudi Arabia, the head of Qatar, the head of UAE about 3 months ago now already. The time flies. And they put up $5.1 trillion investment in our country. And we have about $17 trillion coming into our country.
Dude. All right. The number one country is USA with 30 plus. I thought it was 40, but I don't know, because of tariffs and shit or something. It's around 30, 35. China is around 20. Germany is around 5. Massive drop. And then there is India with $4 trillion economy. Everything else goes lower and lower. How the fuck are they going to invest that many trillions if they're not even in that list? They don't even have that level of GDP. They don't do that level of business. How are they going to invest that much money? Yes, these are small countries. Very rich countries for the smallness, but it's a small country. Right? How are they going to invest that? He thinks Pakistan has such a big oil reserve. Like, okay. It's definitely not because Pakistan nominated him for Nobel Prize, so he's just buttering them up as well. Yeah, Pakistan's military leader went to USA and just said we're gonna bomb everyone if next time something happens. Basically threatening USA and every other country as well. And Trump organizations yeah, we are pro-Pakistan for fighting against terrorism. What the fuck are you talking about? They're funding terrorism. That's why the war happened with India and Pakistan. Everybody knows that.
The numbers we've never seen before. And by the way, this is after 6 months. This is this is after 6 months. We never had numbers like that after years.
Then Donald Trump talks about how he negotiated a lot of points on behalf of Ukraine, which wasn't even there. He goes, I think, we negotiated away a lot of the things that relating to Ukraine. Here, play this clip.
By far, there's nothing even close. But we had a very good meeting today, and I think a lot of points were negotiated on behalf of Ukraine and on behalf of the whole NATO situation, where we're dealing very well with a lot of foreign countries that are great, European countries. Look, as far as I'm concerned, there's no deal until there's a deal. But we did make a lot of progress.
The meeting took place in this room.
I don't know, maybe Ukraine should have been there and Europe should have been there, and this wouldn't have been the unmitigated disaster that it was today. But oh yeah, Putin told Donald Trump that Zelensky was not allowed there, and Europe wasn't allowed there because Putin knew exactly what...
Yeah, Trump always speaks so big until he's in room with somebody like Putin, where he chickens out every single time. Every single meeting between Trump and Putin past 10 years is basically this. Putin somehow dominating. You're the most powerful, richest country in the world, president of that. Like, you have real power. Like, why are you being so weak? That doesn't make sense to me. Why can't you just say like what you wanted to say, like, Putin, I'm gonna put the pressure on you if you don't like come to meeting. Why'd you chicken out? I don't get it. I still don't get it.
What he wanted to do, which was to have this propaganda moment and to show the rest of the world that Russia could outmaneuver the United States. It's so embarrassing. Speaking of so embarrassing, then Donald Trump claims that he's done deals with every country in the world, which he did not. He's done 0 deals. He's made a few fake deals with nothing on paper, nothing in writing that the countries deny have the terms that Trump lies about. But Trump says that he's done deals with...
What are you talking about? Didn't he do the deal with European Union? Pretty sure he did the deal with European Union and some other countries as well. Not all of them, obviously. He didn't do a deal with China. He's just delaying it. But China's like, do what you will. Like, fuck it. We'll weather the storm. US and East China. So they're like, that's delaying it. Didn't do deal with India. Put 150% tariff. It's like India's going to say, fuck you. Like, I'm going to put 1,000% tariff on like medicines and things. Good luck. India doesn't rely on US that much. So yeah, it's not going to matter. So yeah, I don't know.
Every country, which is just quite literally the biggest lie. Play this clip.
Family.
Well, how many countries now have you made trade deals with, and how much is it incoming?
Many of them, and well, basically all of them, because I made along with some great people, as you know them very well. They're on your show, but I made, I would say 12 or 13 of the big ones. In other words, we made the big deals, and the rest we just assign a tariff to, and we do that by gut instinct. We do that by how we're doing generally, how the relationship, and we do it also by deficits. If we're losing a lot of money with a country, you got to pay us a tariff. We got to make it even. We want to balance it out.
That's not how tariff. Why does he not understand how tariff works still? Tariff is paid by you people, you Americans. I get it, the concept. Like, if you pay tariff, then you buy local things and not the one where you have to pay tariff, because local thing is much cheaper. Let's say something is coming from India and you're paying 50% tariff or 100% tariff. Okay, thing that is coming from India is $10. Now tariff makes it $15 or $20. Your local thing will be $50. You're still gonna pay tariff and buy Indian things because it's that cheaper. Did anything change? No, you're still buying Indian things. You're just paying tariff as a tax to your own government. Your own government can flex. See how much tariff we brought on from our own people? It's not going to change shit. There's a big difference between like something like Indian, like economy and US economy. US labor is insanely high compared to the Indian labor. About 10 times as high. So 50%, 100% tariff is not going to change anything when it comes to value of the product. Yes, it will make twice as costly than you used to buying before. But your local thing is 10 times as costly. So you're still not going to buy that.
And I was generous to a lot. Some of them, we lose so much money that, frankly, you'll never make it up. And if there are people that have been great to us as a country, then I take it a little bit easy.
And then I don't even know what he's talking about here. This is another moment where he just kind of...
It's basically like, yeah, we are America. We're going to put tariffs on everything, bully you if you don't do as I say, because clearly you're not a sovereign nation. Right? We are going to give pass to China, but not to India and other countries. At that point, India's like, okay, this is like an insult thing. This is like an ego thing. I might lose money, but I'm not gonna listen to what the fuck you have to say. Like, fuck it. We're not gonna make deal. So this is just stupid businessmanship, right? This is just insane. India's the 4th biggest economy, not 40th.
Cognitively glitches out. He goes, I'm getting calls from people and governments saying, where did I get $29 billion from? I said, didn't you try the tariff shelf? Didn't you try the tariff shelf? What the hell is he talking about? And then he goes on and says that he's getting all of this money from Europe, which he's not. Play this clip.
I use the power of the United States. We have got the greatest economy now in the world. We have trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars or millions. We have trillions of dollars pouring into our coffers. I'm getting calls from people in government saying, where did I get the $29 billion from? I said, why don't you try the tariff shelf? And, we have, as an example, the European nations made a great deal. They pay us literally trillions of dollars. Japan, so many. And you know what? They like us better. They respect us. They didn't respect us. They were paying us nothing. Nothing. We were paying them. They weren't paying us. And I turned it around.
Yeah, okay. You know why governments like USA and other governments during COVID paid their own people just so they can buy stuff so economy keeps going on? Tariff is opposite of that. You put tariffs on, your own people will pay tariff. You get $29 billion from tariff. You're going to pat yourself in the back. You're flexing. 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, your economy is going to stagnate because of this ripple effect. You can't slow down the engine of economy like that. You can just say, fuck it, I'm going to increase 10% tax. Who cares? 10% tariff. Yeah, this is global economy. This is like spider web of things. If you mess how it works, everything goes down. Trump doesn't realize this. He has such a short vision. He doesn't know what's going to happen 3, 4 years from now. So he's just fucking with everything. All right, I guess. And all the people like, you don't know what you're talking about. Trump knows what he's doing. All right, we'll see what happens 5 years from now. Right now, benefit from tariff, which your own people are paying with their own money. Yeah, eventually, like people's buying thing will go down. People will buy less. People will be more conservative with their own money. Economy will stagnate because of it. And because how economy works and capitalism work, the engine needs to running. If it stagnates, the debt's going to go higher, insanely high. You're going to be at a period where you're going to panic.
Around, and we're actually a very rich country now. You know, I told you my favorite word is the word tariff. I actually made that a little bit later because I got criticized by the fake news. You know, they said, what about religion? What about family?
Well, how many countries?
Then Donald Trump brags that Vladimir Putin said that Donald Trump has turned the United States so hot like a pistol, Donald Trump says. Here, play this clip.
I love seeing this country be great again. And Vladimir said just a little while ago, he said, I've never seen anybody do so much so fast. He said, your country is like hot as a pistol. And a year ago, he thought it was dead. Everybody thought it was dead.
Then Donald Trump attacks former President Obama.
Oh my God, what an easy mark. Putin knows what to say and how to butter him up. He's like, Vladimir said this. I'm so happy. He's just going to hop around and go to White House. What the fuck, man? That's how easy you are?
Obama, and says that Donald Trump gave Ukraine all of these javelins and Obama gave Ukraine nothing. And so then Donald Trump spends time attacking Obama. Play this clip.
And I gave him javelins, if you remember, in my first term. In fact, it was a statement. I gave javelins. You remember the statement. I gave javelins and Obama gave, because it was Obama at that time, Obama gave him sheets. And that's true. I gave the javelins, and a lot of tanks were knocked out because of the javelins. The javelins, incredible weapon. It's a tank. You know, you look at this big, powerful tank. It ends up being a ball of metal lying on the ground and burning.
Then Donald Trump is asked, well, what's the thing that you said you couldn't reach an agreement on? Can you share with everybody what that is? Like what happened today, Donald, other than Putin mocking you and laughing at you, other than Putin's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, wearing a USSR t-shirt in Alaska and mocking you? What else actually happened today, Donald? Here, play this clip.
Yeah. In your press conference, you talked about a lot of things that you agreed on, and maybe one big issue you don't agree on. Are you prepared to go public with that?
No, I'd rather not. I guess somebody's going to go public with it. They'll figure it out. But no, I don't want to do that. I want to see if we can get it done. You know, it's not a done deal at all. Mm-hmm. And Ukraine has to agree. I mean, you know, President Zelensky has to agree. But it's a terrible war where he's losing a lot, and both of them are. And hopefully it can get completed. That'll be a great achievement for them. Forget about me, for them. And
you'd rather not. That makes a lot of sense. Then Donald Trump attacks California Governor Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom is just completely bullying Donald Trump right now, and it's perfection. Here, play this clip.
Dishonest. They send stuff. Some people get 7 ballots. Look at California with that horrible governor they have. He's one of the worst governors in history. He's incompetent. He doesn't know what he's doing. They send out like 38 million ballots. Some people get 5, 6, 7. But Vladimir Putin, smart guy, said you can't have an honest election with mail-in voting. And he said there's not a country in the world that uses it now.
Donald Trump then says that it was a good meeting, even though we know it wasn't. Let's play it.
He would look and see what happened. He would think we're crazy, with the made-up Russia hoax. So we had something very important, and we had a very good meeting today, but we'll see. I mean, it's, you have to get a deal. We agreed on a lot of points. I want to see people stop dying in Ukraine, and that's what's happening. We're losing 5, 6, 7,000. They're Russians, mostly Russians, and they're Ukrainian soldiers. There's some people dying in cities and towns where they're trying to blow up missile manufacturers and other things in some cities. I don't know if you know what's going on there, but there are a lot of people dying.
You know how fucked up this is? He told Zelensky to fuck off, basically, and then slowly changed his tune. And it's like, okay, we just talked, and Putin bombed more of Ukrainians, more people. And he got pissed off so much in past few months. It's like, okay, I had enough. I'm going to put pressure on his trading partners. I'm going to pressure Putin into, like some kind of a deal or something. As soon as this shit happen, again 180. Oh, Putin is a great guy. Putin was saying so nice thing about me. Putin this, Putin that. I guess Putin still have his P tape. That's what this is. Because he changed his tune so fast, even with no result. I'm going to keep some things secret. Yeah, because you don't have shit to say. That's why. Nothing happened. And I think he's saving his skin. Like, oh, no, this was supposed to happen. No, it didn't. Zelensky said, like, okay, Putin's not going to do anything. European Union said the same thing as well. And yeah, I guess that was true. And Trump was just like blowing hot air, like, I'm going to do this, do that. Yeah, you didn't do nothing. And it just makes sense. You think Putin is a joke? You think you can just convince Putin, like, Putin's going to be, all right, Trump said it, so I have to, like, come to a deal and stop the war. If Trump said it, I have to stop the war. Putin's going to do that? Come on, really? Of course, this was never going to happen. Like, yeah.
And if we can end that war, it would be very good. And
then Donald Trump says that Putin told him that there would never be a war if Donald Trump was in office. You would have given Putin all of Ukraine's land. That's what.
Yeah. So if Trump was in power, Putin wouldn't have done special operation where he said, like, oh, there are Nazis or whatever there is. I guess they would have not been there. I guess it's up to USA, apparently. Yeah.
Would have happened. But anyway, play the clip.
But there are a lot of people dying. And if we can end that war, it would be very good. And I was very happy to hear him say, if I was president, that war would have never happened.
Mr. President, that was my next question. He said at the joint press conference that and you have said this many.
See how fucked up this is? When all said and done, they're still playing their internal politics. See, like, oh, Democrats bad, Republicans good. If I would have won, everything would have been fine. They're still trying to collect points. You're talking about global tragedy right now. This is not time for that shit. We're still trying to get that win. Hannity is still trying to, like, parry, yeah, we Republicans. Entire United States political spectrum has gone completely to shit. Whether it's completely left-wing or right-wing, it doesn't matter.
Times, and he confirmed for the world today that if you were president, this wouldn't have happened. Did any of the specifics come up as to why he said that?
It did. It doesn't matter at this point, but that this war should never have happened. A lot of wars should never have happened.
There you have it, folks.
Oh, shit.
What a disastrous interview. I mean, how utterly humiliating. It's shameful, humiliating. There's nothing normal about that. We'll never normalize that behavior on the Midas Touch Network. We'll always call it out. Hit subscribe.
Yeah, a lot of wars shouldn't have happened. I don't know, like probably all of them. World War II shouldn't have happened. There shouldn't have been Hitler or Nazis. Only if Hitler's father let him go to art school. None of this shit would have ever happened. Yeah. Only if he didn't beat, like punish him severely. None of this would have. Yeah, that's probably applied to all wars. Again, like I've been, I've said positive things about Trump for a long time now. I probably still do it. Like there's many areas where I'm like, yeah, Trump is doing what his base want. I still do it. So this is not like anti-Trump thing. I'm not anti-right or anti-left because I don't give a fuck. I don't live there. Like your political spectrum, I don't care. I'm just judging based on what it is, right? Yeah, I don't even care about that India thing. Like that doesn't really register to me. Like it's not going to change nothing where I live, right? This tariff, this is this political thing. Like it's going to change. In few years, like tariffs will go away because they have to. You can't put tariff on the biggest, largest economy there is just by sheer number, right? So yeah, that shit is also temporary. So I'm not biased in any way, but this is insane. He basically bashed Zelensky, and then he changed his tune like, oh, Putin this, Putin that. After this meeting, Putin's my best guy. Putin applauded me. Like, okay, yeah, Putin's not a joke. He's been president of Russia for like multiple decades now. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, Trump was never going to change Putin's mind. So this is just insane to me, right? This whole thing, whole meeting, and like Putin was the first guy. Like, okay, what's your question? And Putin started to answer like he's the host. He wasn't the host. He's in Alaska. That's United States. Usually, whenever you go to a country, that country's prime minister, president, whoever starts the conversation because they are the one who's hosting the other one. But Putin started as a dominant thing, and Trump's like, yeah, all right, fine. This is insane. I don't know if that was probably some silent jab from Putin. That's insane. All right, well, that was Trump has disaster interview after Putin Alaska debacle. Yeah. If you like more, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.